PepsiCo and Formula One just announced a deal that will go from 2025 all the way to 2030. And there are a couple of really interesting pieces to this. One, the official snack partner of Formula One now becomes Doritos, which hopefully means that Cool Ranch Doritos will be available at all times during a Formula One race. But the most interesting part to me is the combination of Gatorade and Formula One. In this partnership, Gatorade will be taking the naming rights to the remaining sprint races this year as well as moving forward, which means that for the remaining sprint races this season, they will be called the Formula One Gatorade Sprint Race, which is interesting for a number of reasons. Obviously, we're not unfamiliar with the idea of naming rights for Formula One races. A number of the races have pretty long names because of how many sponsors are involved in each race. However, the sprint races as a whole being named after Gatorade are kind of like a stadium sponsor the way we see in other sports. If you're from LA, for example, you may still refer to the Crypto.com arena as the Staples Center. And that's because for so long, so many iconic teams played in that center, and it was called the Staples Center because Staples had the naming rights. Seeing that same naming rights convention happen not just for a singular race, but across an entire format that goes across multiple weekends is a really interesting move. And it also brings in one of the most iconic brands in sports to Formula One. For a very long time, Gatorade has been completely synonymous with excellence in athletics. Whether or not you watch sports like basketball, football, the NFL, all of those sports have had massive athletes sign as Gatorade athletes. And from that, you almost always see the same commercial or photo shoot. And that's an athlete in black and white with colored sweat. We've seen iconic names like Michael Jordan all the way through current names like Juju Watkins do that. And Gatorade is this badge of honor in other sports. When you see an athlete become a Gatorade athlete, you know that they're making waves in whatever sport they play. Plus, we even have iconic moments that become tradition. Like in the NFL, when a team wins the Super Bowl, without fail, you will see players dump a huge amount of Gatorade on their coach. Bringing that type of sports branding into Formula One, I think brings it into a different world. Personally, I would love to see all of these Formula One drivers actually in a Gatorade ad. And this would be a great time for Daniel Ricciardo to still be around, because you can kind of see it, right? A completely black screen. Then we hear the audio. Is that real sweat? And then you just see Daniel Ricciardo like black and white with like goblets of Gatorade sweat coming off of him. I really think there's something there. Regardless, this is a really interesting move because we're seeing a brand that is so iconically linked to other sports try to become a huge name in Formula One. And it'll be really interesting to see how this activation moves forward. So I'm curious for you, are you excited to be able to have a Cool Ranch Dorito at the track? And which of the Formula One drivers do you think we're going to see become Gatorade athletes?